abîmé. Il taillait la pierre, fils d'ouvrier. Il en était fier. Et pourquoi vous riez? Non, ne le jugez pas. Vous qui ne connaissez pas les vertiges et le labeur.
Good enough, guys, it is your boy Garrett G Gaming here, and today I am doing part 3 of the speculative French tank series, and it will most likely be the final part since all the tanks have basically been leaked anyway, and I only plan on doing 3. I think I was going to do 4 actually, 1 on another tank which I'll get onto later, but basically because they've already been leaked and the patch will be coming out soon, I've decided that if I want to do any future French tank videos that I'll have to go out and grind and unlock that tank, so that you'll have footage of it in-game rather than me flashing up pictures and just talking about it, so yeah. So without any further delay, I'd like to introduce the Atelier de Construction d'Isilien Molyneux 50, or AMX-50 in English. Now just a side note, before I start the scripted part of the video, I'd just like to note that I'm doing the other tanks that are associated with the development of this vehicle that are either variants of or developed alongside or whatever, or developed from. They're all going to be in this video, so you don't have to worry about me missing out on like the Foch or the Lorraine or anything like that. They're all going to be in this video, so yeah. So let's begin the scripted part of the video. So imagine, if you will, that your nation is France. This is back in 1940. Your proud army has taken on the Germans before and won. A mere century ago, France conquered most of Europe in the Napoleonic Wars. Your proud army wields large, powerful tanks like the Char-Bihan, which could easily outclass the lightly armoured German panzers. Imagine now, after your nation has been split in half and turned into ruin, that you're fighting in the resistance. The Allies have landed in Normandy and are slowly liberating France. But suddenly, rumbling down the street, you see a German column, and at the head of that column, you see this 68-ton monster, larger than any panzer you've ever seen before. You see your first King Tiger. Compared to late war German monsters like Tiger IIs and Jagdtigers, the post-war French army had a lot of catching up to do. Using Shermans and captured Panthers wouldn't last very long. Now, the ARL-44 heavy tank was a step in the right direction, but was essentially just a Char hull with a 90mm gun. But compared to other developments of the time, such as the Centurion Universal Tank and the T-54 medium tank, this was hardly adequate. So put simply, the Armée de Terre needed a modern tank, and AMX had an answer. Projet 141, or Project 141 in English. This was devised to provide a powerful tank analogous to the King Tiger, with a large high-velocity 90mm gun. This is the origins of the AMX-50, originally starting as the AMX-M4 prototype, with many similarities to late-war German tanks, notably overlapping suspension. The AMX-M4 was deemed insufficient due to its 30mm of maximum armour, wholly inadequate and quite laughable compared to the Tiger II and its 180mm turret face. After some extensive redesign, the new tank was dubbed AMX-50, or if you want to hear the goddamn French pronunciation again, it is the Atelier de Construction d'Isilien Molyneux 50. It was named 50 due to its intended weight of around 50 tons. The prototypes were intended to be highly mobile, powered by a 1200 horsepower engine and armed with a punchy 100mm Arsenal de Tarbes gun. However, the engine that it was actually given was highly limited and the vehicle was underpowered. This was not looking so good for the intended French main battle tank. The mass delivery of surplus US M47 Patent II tanks quickly ended the need for the AMX-50 as a medium tank. However, France was not quite done with its new creation. On August 1951, a new project was started that was intended to counter the massive threat from the powerful IS-3 and T-10 Soviet heavy tanks. A massive 120mm gun was fitted to an oscillating turret armoured with 90mm of armour. This tank ended up weighing nearly 60 tons, and it was very close to being ordered into production. However, unlike its contemporaries, the Conqueror and the M103, the AMX-50 did not see any service, as the implementation of modern high-explosive anti-tank ammunition made most armour redundant. The project was cancelled. In-game, however, many flavours of the AMX-50 and its offshoot projects exist. Two base versions of the tank appear in the French tech tree. The AMX-50 appears to be correctly classified as a medium tank armed with its original 100mm gun. It would serve its originally intended role, albeit underpowered and not very well armoured. The second version, however, is a heavy tank, sitting at the end of the French heavy line at 7.7. This version is the AMX-50 Surbass, meaning lowered in French. This vehicle had a cast lower profile style hull, but a higher turret known as the Tourner D, meaning 4th style or type turret. Armed with a 120mm gun and featuring a 19-round clip in its autoloader that reloads every 8 seconds. Of course, once these rounds are expended, it will take about 50 seconds to reload. Although I question, how many times have you fired 19 rounds in a game that wasn't on like Kursk or something? So, yeah. So, from my limited experience, I could probably tell you that in-game both vehicles will basically be large glass cannons with fairly decent firepower in the 100mm guns case, or massive firepower in the 120mm guns case. Featuring an oscillating turret, the tank will have a high traverse speed, but will suffer from gun elevation issues, and an extremely exposed turret bustle at the back, which can be easily detonated from afar or from ground attack from the air. Also of note is the fact that these tanks have absolutely... They have armour. I think the turrets would be, at least on the Tourner D, is 90mm on both the basket and on the oscillating part. However, that is not really a lot of armour at all. Most things at that tier that perform even somewhat well against sloped armour will go through. So Heat FS and APFSDS is just going to punch straight through you. APHE is going to punch straight through you. APDS, I mean, if it hits the flat angle, it's going to go straight through you. You cannot take hits at all in this thing, basically, so just keep that in mind. So, touching on the other vehicles, the prototype AMX-M4 appears to be in the tech tree. This is the vehicle that the AMX-50 was developed from, and it appears to have its 90mm gun and 30mm of armour. Have fun getting your armour overmatched every single game. I personally do not enjoy that. The Lorraine 42 was announced to be in the game before the AMX-50 even was. Historically, it was designed as a medium tank alternative to the AMX-50 when it became apparent that the 50 would be too heavy for its intended role. The Lorraine will be a solid medium tank with a mobile chassis, decent firepower, and as per usual, the oscillating turret. Of note is that the tank destroyer variant will also be in the game, the Canon d'Assault Lorraine. I think that's how you pronounce it. Coming in last will be the Canon Automateur AMX-50 Foch, named after the Allied Commander-in-Chief during World War I. This tank featured a 120mm conventional gun to support the AMX-50-100. However, since the AMX-50 eventually took this gun for itself, the project was abandoned. In-game, it is featured as the final French tank destroyer, at least until an ATGM carrier is introduced. Well, I hope most of you have enjoyed this video anyway, so you know the usual drill. Just leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you hated it, just completely hated it or disagreed or I was wrong or whatever. You've got every chance to do either one. Doesn't really matter to me. Well, actually, liking it helps me a lot, so you know. But make sure to comment down below any thoughts. A lot of you guys have been very vocal in the last couple of videos about anything I might have gotten wrong, or just your opinions, or any support and all that stuff, so I greatly appreciate it. So any interaction with the video helps, so I'll thank you immensely for any of it at all. If you've made it this far, I will say that you're somewhat interested in my channel, so I'd invite you to subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload, which is as frequently as I possibly can. So yeah, it has been your boy Garage Gaming. Hope you've enjoyed this little French video. Au revoir, and I'll catch you guys next time.